Well, as you can see, it's not getting any nicer out there. I think we're in week 3 or 4 of -18 wind chill conditions out here in Hamilton, and it's just brutal. But last year we had a mild winter, so I guess this is payback. And you can see I'm wearing my snow pants, so I'm just getting ready to take Ollie and Chickpea out for a short walk. I've been doing multiple short walks each day. My wife Chris is out with Penny for a very brief run right now because you still got to exercise your dogs even when it's super cold. And it can be very frustrating. And this time of year has turned one of my favorite things, going out for a walk with the dogs, into an absolute chore that I just like dread. And it can be very difficult, especially when people just layer up the sidewalks full of salt. I get it, like we don't want to be slipping around on the sidewalk, but you could also just shovel your sidewalk. And I've noticed here in my neighborhood, at least, a lot of people just go out and dump like a bag's worth of salt on their sidewalk instead of shoveling, which sucks because it sucks to walk the dogs on that. And it just sucks. It's not good for anything, not good for your clothes or your shoes or your boots or anything, but we've got to do what we've got to do here in the Canadian winter. Today, I wanted to talk briefly about leash reactivity. I've been getting a lot of leash reactivity cases lately. It's probably the number one thing I get throughout the year if I looked at the total of like what people reach out to me for. And there are a few different causes. So a lot of people think it's aggression. A lot of people say, oh, I saw this aggressive dog lunging and barking. Could be that the dog's aggressive. That's a possibility. Most of these cases, though, what you're seeing is actually frustration from the dog. The dog wants to go over and meet the other dog. They can't because the leash is a barrier. It's restricting their freedom of movement. And they become frustrated and then they lash out. They're just trying to get off the leash and over to the dog in most cases. So they'll pirouette around on the leash. Sometimes they'll even bite at the owners or bite at the leash or jump up. And it can be quite a display, especially for the people across the street watching it all. And for all of my clients, I get it. I know how embarrassing it is. I know how stressful it is. And I know that it makes you dread walking your dog. And in most cases, it can be fairly easy to move past that and get a nice leash walk. Let's talk about some of the causes. What causes this? So I guess the number one thing is pack drive. So when I say pack drive, I mean like how social is your dog? If your dog loves other dogs and wants to play with lots of other dogs, then they might be reactive, reacting to another dog when they're on the leash. For most of the clients I've had where they've had an incident where they say, oh, the leash slipped out of my hands, 99% of them say, well, my dog ran across the street, sniffed the other dog for a moment, and then just walked away. So this is the case. Most dogs just want to meet the other dog. The problem is this. So it comes from a dog that is overly social. Other causes can be too much time at an off-leash dog park. We won't even get into the off-leash dog park. But again, too much time at the off-leash dog park or doggy daycares, right? Lots of people use doggy daycare. But in these situations, your dog has become accustomed to free roaming and just rolling up to every dog they want. Hey, how you doing? What's up with you, right? So now they're in this mindset of like, I see a dog and I just go over. But then the problem is now you want to take them for a leash walk. You're in a different situation. You've got them on leash. And now the dog wants to perform that very same behavior of just sauntering over and greeting another dog, but they cannot. And that's where the frustration response comes from. So we certainly want our dogs to be social and be able to play and enjoy the company of other dogs, right? Their own species. But at the same time, if you produce an overly social dog, you socialize them too much. Every dog in the neighborhood you see, you stop and greet. You take them to the dog park or they go to doggy daycare. These can be crucial factors in creating a social butterfly, an overly social dog that has no sort of off switch, right? The switch is on and broke off, and now the dog has no capability of being calm around other dogs because other dogs represent excitement and play. And that's great. Like I said, we want our dogs to be social, but there's a limit to how social we want them to be without causing problems, okay? So most trainers would probably say that greeting every dog on the street, not such a good idea. I would agree. First of all, how do you even assess if the other dog is friendly? Well, the other dog's owner told me they're friendly. Sure. Okay, that's great. So you're going to trust somebody else's assessment. I don't know. Even if both dogs are friendly, sometimes two dogs don't get along. Maybe they're territorial. Maybe there's all kinds of issues behind why they might not get along. But typically, if I'm introducing two dogs, I want them to spend a few minutes around each other on leash, not meeting. So just learning to be calm. And then as they're calming down, time to greet. Calm dogs don't typically do stupid things. Overexcited dogs do. And on the street corner, I can't take 15 minutes to chat with the owner and go through my whole philosophy on how the dog should be calm before they meet. And if I met every dog in the neighborhood, I'd probably produce a dog that's overly social and is too excited whenever they see a dog. So really, I want my dogs to know when we're on leash and we're out for a walk, we mean business. We're just out for a walk. This is exercise. This is exposure to the world. But this is not meet and greet every dog time. So if an owner ever asked me, hey, excuse me, sir, excuse me, could our dogs meet? The answer is no. The answer is just straight up no. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just don't want that, because I want my dogs to know that most dogs they see are nothing. Just like most people you see. When you're out and about in the world, you don't run over and hug every person. You don't scream hello to every person. You'd be locked up in the loony bin pretty fast. You ignore most people, and that's all I want my dogs to do. And really, that's part of our training, is teaching your dog to be calmer and just ignore, and really get a mindset into your dog that, like, hey, not every dog is going to be your best friend, and you're not going to meet every dog. So you've got to come to grips with the fact that some dogs are just going to be sort of background noise out there, okay? But if you find you've got leash reactivity issues, you can reach out to a trainer like me, and I can help guide you through the process. But also consider, have you in part created part of this problem? Like, have you assisted in making your dog too social? Do you spend too much time socializing your dog with other dogs? Now, if that's what you enjoy, then that's great. But then you're always going to have a little bit of a problem with leash walking, because you can't have your cake and eat it too sometimes. Okay? So reach out if you need a hand. Hopefully that makes you understand a little bit more about leash reactivity, that it's really a frustration-based behavior and typically not an aggressive-based behavior. So maybe if you're a dog owner and you see a dog lunging and barking on the leash, maybe it'll put your mind a little bit at ease. Also, listen to the barks. High-pitched barks tend to be frustration, and you'll start to be able to pick out, like, oh, I think that dog's just frustrated instead of aggressive. All right, hopefully that's helped. Chickpea, Ollie, my little pal. Ollie! Hi, pal. It's time to go for a walk, friends. All right, guys, hopefully that gave you a little bit of information on leash reactivity, its causes. Why didn't I tell you how to fix it? Because every case is individual, and that's why you call a person like me. I need to assess your dog, decide what the right training techniques are, what the right training tool might be for your dog. So that's why I don't give this how to fix it information. Besides, that's what I do for a living. If I made videos on how to fix leash reactivity, first of all, I'd be putting all dogs into the same box, which is unfair. And second of all, I'd have no job. I'd be a YouTube trainer, and I'm not a YouTube trainer. I'm an in the trenches, out, all week long, working with clients and their dogs. That's what I do for a living. So hopefully your dog, if they're reactive, you reach out to somebody and we give you the solution. Otherwise, if you don't have a reactive dog, like I don't, enjoy your walks. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.